All right, I'm so excited to be here tonight with Matt and Micaela Brancato to hear a little bit about what they've been able to do with their business. So I will take it over to you, Matt and Micaela.
Awesome, thanks, Angelina. We're pretty excited to be here as well, and we appreciate you thinking of us. Matt and I, we have spent now 17 years serving as Air Force officers. My background is as an aircraft maintenance supervisor, and Matt is one of our pilots. And so, to be honest, we've always dreamt of owning our own business, but we didn't think it would be a reality with being able to serve. So it's been really, really fun to find an opportunity that we can do alongside our military careers. And that has led us to the ability to be able to open up a nonprofit 5 years ahead of schedule. So we didn't have to wait until we retired to be able to do that.
That is awesome. So what made you guys decide, you guys are both really busy officers with very busy careers like you just described. What made you guys decide to add a business into the mix?
Yeah, well, like she said, we're in the military, and I'd say that in the military, you always know that there's going to be a life after the military, meaning sometimes you retire when you're in your early 40s and you get a good pension. However, we always knew that we wanted to do something else after retirement. We're not the type of people that just like to sit around and hang out on the beach. We always want to find a way to serve the community and help wherever we can. And so with that in mind, we were looking at business opportunities. And so when a business opportunity presented itself that we thought we could do alongside our military career, we thought we could leverage getting some business experience at the same time as we're continuing to serve, so that when we retired, we'd have that option for us on retirement.
I also think that entrepreneurism is really a great transition from our leadership skills that the military teaches you. So just having that background has really helped us make the transition. And I would always tell folks, like, if you're passionate about something, you can put your mind to anything and you can find balance. I always think that's always a little bit of a challenge, but it is possible, especially if you have a good team in place.
That's awesome. So what for you guys inspired you to use your business as a vehicle to give back? And can you tell us a little bit about Holbrook Farms?
Yeah, well, I'll start by just giving you about information about what inspired us. Then I'll have Micaela tell you a little bit more about Holbrook Farms. But in 2011, my Air Force Academy roommate was shot and killed in Kabul. And we went to his funeral, and I just felt that I wanted to give back and help the family in some way, and I just didn't know how. And so the nonprofit came from a place of wanting to help and just didn't know what to do to help the survivor and their family to help get through that difficult time.
Yeah, and shortly after we lost Dave, we also lost another good friend in an airplane crash, and that left behind a really good friend of mine and her 9-month-old daughter, trying to decide what their life was going to look like now. And for us, really, it was we've always had this heart of wanting to serve, and so we knew we would continue that along after our military career. And so when Matt and I were debating, should we wait until we retire to start this? We were encouraged by a lot of people that said, if you start it now, you'll learn a lot and you'll be able to help a lot more people. And obviously there was a huge need there with especially the war on terrorism, and a lot of families have had to go through these transitions. So we've learned a lot along the way, and we're pretty excited to be starting our 4th season. And we would not have been able to do that without our business alongside of it, to be able to provide the extra income stream that is what funds the nonprofit. And so now, we're just ecstatic to see this nonprofit grow, and it's really grown from word of mouth, getting the word out. It's Holbrook Farms, and it's a spa-themed retreat on a lake in Minnesota. And we bring the widows up there for a long weekend in the summer where they get to be just pampered. It's a spa-themed retreat. So they get an all-expense-paid trip. They get to come up and we take them on boat rides and massages and pedicures, and just have a wonderful time of community and having them be surrounded by other women that totally understand what they've gone through, because all of them have been through a certain loss with a military spouse. And since that's happened, it's continued to grow. And what's really been cool is we've got the community involved. So, you know, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota is not a real, I guess, prominent military. There are a lot of military in the area, but it's just not as well known. And now we've been able to get the word out about other veterans organizations too, and partnered with them to, you know, support Holbrook Farms. So it's kind of a fun part too about entrepreneurism and the nonprofit sector is you can get together and really help each other, support each other. And I love the teamwork. It's the camaraderie that comes from our military careers.
So on that note of being business owners and entrepreneurs and also doing the nonprofit thing, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to give back through their business and do what you guys are doing?
Oh, that's a great question. I think what we've seen is that the first thing is you just need to have a clear mission for what it is that you want to do, because what ends up happening is there's a lot of great ideas and there's a lot of people that want to give you advice. And so, you know, you want to stick to what your mission is, and it's okay if you have to say no to some things to be able to stick with what you're passionate about. And then you just got to tell people. I think that was one thing that made it real for us is when we had this idea, it was this big dream out there. And when we started to formulate it and actually tell people, then that was kind of our accountability system to be able to make it happen. And, you know, you see a lot of businesses that don't make it. You see a lot of nonprofits that don't make it. And, you know, I think that for a lot of people, it's just being able to take that idea and put it into action. And unlike maybe our military careers where there's somebody that's kind of telling you what to do or there's a definite checklist, you know, entrepreneur in the nonprofit world, you know, there's really this unlimited resources and unlimited opportunities. So you just have to have a plan, stick with it, and then use the team, use advisors, use people that you trust, and have a good game plan. But other than that, I would just tell people, give it a try. Like, don't have fear, go for it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that the number one thing I'd say is what Micaela said, is be very clear on your mission and your vision. There were many areas that we could have taken this retreat center. We thought it was a very healing place, and so it would help a lot of different people. And we do still want to reach out to them. However, our mission is very specific to providing a healing place for military survivors. And so once we got very clear on what we were intended to do with it, then what I'd say for the people that want to serve their communities is start talking about it. So I'll weave it back to where Micaela talked about too, is that we weren't going to start this until 2019, 2020. We were going to do some research and do some studying and learn all about nonprofits and figure out what all we need to do to get this thing started. And then when the need was there, we decided just to jump in both feet and ask the community for help. And they came out and just made it happen for us. And so include them in your vision, because you will get support from your community, because a lot of people believe in helping other people. So I'd say clear on your vision and then ask the community for support.
Thank you guys so much. I know that'll mean a lot to everybody who's out there kind of standing on the edge of doing something like this. And I know it can be really daunting thinking about that, especially when you have full-time jobs and you're as busy as you guys were. How do you find balance, and would you change anything if you went back and started it over again?
All right, another great question. As far as balance goes, in my mind, I consider balance to be constant movement. And so for me and for us, it's mostly about shifting our priorities to where it needs our focus most at the time. So now that we're in our 4th season, we know that there are certain times when Holbrook Farms, the nonprofit, gets very busy. And so we shift our focus to make sure that the retreats are up and running and ready to go. And then when it's during the off season and it's more fundraising season, then we can shift more onto the business side. And so we can generate more income to pitch back into the nonprofit. And all along, I would say it's continuous day to day as far as our military jobs goes. I mean, the military will continue to be ever demanding. and we love serving our country. We want to continue to do that. And so, but having something outside of the military that you're passionate about gives you energy to continue to push forward every day.
And I do think that is a constant struggle for everybody, no matter what your situation is. I mean, everybody is so busy. And so it's really just maximizing the time that you do have. You know, did Matt and I have to give up a few TV shows that we like to watch to make it all happen? Yeah, we did, but it was okay because it was worth it. And, you know, doing something that lights you up and that's really fulfilling, you know, I mean, that gives back in way more ways. But I think the best advice to give people is you got to assemble a strong team, and then you got to empower those people. So, you know, just like in our military careers where there's leaders at every level, you know, you kind of have to assemble that in whatever your business or your nonprofit is, and just really empower them, you know, let them know your vision so that they can be singing on the same sheet of music, and, you know, give them some freedom to try some things and fail. You know, that's one thing I will tell you, that being in the military, we're not really good at failing. We don't like it. It's really not an option in many of our professions. And so in this kind of opportunity where you're trying something new, you have to be willing to take a little risk and potentially have some of those little minor adjustments that need to be made. And that can be uncomfortable at first, but it's necessary, especially if you want to grow and take it to the next level. So so put that team together, get them in tune with your vision, you know, get that clear, and then empower them to go do. And then, you know, you will get to serve a lot of people. And where we find it too, the balance side of it is that you may not get to grow as fast as you wanted. I think a lot of us think that we need to have everything like perfect yesterday. And that's something that we've really had to let go and just say, you know what, it is where it needs to be right now, and we are growing. It just might be at the rate that is sustainable for your volunteers or for your board of directors or for your team. And training, you know, that's another thing that the military gives us, is they teach us how important training is. And so that crosses over really well too, is that, you know, is be a student of your profession, you know, learn as much as you can, and then practice it, put it into practice. And some things are going to work and some things are going to need to adjust, but it's worked really well for us. And some people are going to be on your team for a year. Some people will be with you for the longevity. So you have to be ready to be flexible, right? Key to air power, flexibility. So I feel like that's another direct correlation with the military, is we have to be so flexible, changing times. And that's the same in any business, and especially in the nonprofit sector. So.
And I'd say, from my standpoint, if we go back and start over, I would say that reaching out to people and enrolling people in the vision and getting people's support. Like she said, I think that the biggest part of that is having a team behind you, because even when it's a business or the nonprofit, the more people you have in your corner, it's going to help you through those peaks and valleys, and just have more people to share it with has always been. And I also say, if we go back and start over, don't reinvent the wheel. Take the proven systems that are in place and continue to run with those and polish them along the way. And then listen to your customers as you're growing. We've gotten a lot of feedback from the women who have come and stayed at our at Holbrook Farms retreat, and we continue to just try to make that a better retreat for the future.
Awesome. And I know you guys are kicking off this weekend for your 4th season. Am I remembering that right?
Sure.
And is this the first year that you guys are getting to do 2 retreats, right? So what is the thing that you are most excited about this year before we sign off?
Ooh, the most excited. Well, I guess for me, it's the fact that we have alumni. So the survivors that came to stay with us season 1, 2, and 3 are coming back to give back to the community. So all of those volunteers that helped us open and get this up and running, our survivors are coming back to thank them. And I think that that's a really important thing in any business, and even in the military, we're not quite as good at recognition and thanking people for what they do. You know, we've got like awards and promotions and that kind of stuff, but even just being able to, like, what we're going to do is have the survivors serve a meal to all of our volunteers. And I think that that kind of full circle mentality, where they were so touched by being guests, now they want to come back and be part of volunteers, says a lot to the organization. And then it just continues to get buy-in from greater groups of people. So that's probably what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, what I'd say to that is it's not necessarily a good thing, but we haven't done any marketing, and we've already got a wait list of 30. So the fact that we can scale this year to 2 retreats, and then next year to hopefully scale to do more, that's what I'm most excited about right now, is that we're able to reach out and impact so many more just through word of mouth, and just from people that have been to the retreat telling their friends about it, because relationships and friendships that are made there at the retreat are lifelong friendships, because they share a common bond. That it's a club they didn't necessarily choose to be in, but now that they know that they're not alone. And so the fact that we can reach out and connect with more people is exciting to me.
And I guess if I could just leave everybody with this advice, because this is what really turned the tables for us. You know, so much of our life we have shrunk our goals and our dreams to either the size of our paycheck or to the time that we had available. And our business, as well as this nonprofit, has really pushed us to dream big, to really think of what you would do if time and money were not your limiting factors, and make your plan for that. And I think that when you throw that out there to the universe, and you know, you kind of declare it, what would I do, what would my end state look like if I wasn't limited by this, and then you find ways to make that happen, that's really powerful, and that really changed it for us.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for taking some time tonight to talk with us. I know everybody's really going to appreciate it. And we're going to share some information. If anybody wants to know more about Holbrook Farms, we're going to share that with them as well. And just thank you guys. Good luck this season, and can't wait to see what you do with Holbrook Farms in the years to come.
Thank you, Angelina. Thank you so much for having us.